Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to yet another Cutter Top 10 FIFA World Cup video. And today we're going to be looking at the top 10 World Cup finishes. Finish him, as my buddy Bill Lang would say. So we've had some fantastic finishes of games throughout the years and all that. In fact, one of the top 10 lists is actually from 2026. I know we still have the round of 16, quarterfinals, semis, and finals still to play, and we could see a fantastic finish, but we'll be the judge. I'll be the judge of that. But anyway, we're looking at 10 fantastic finishes, and well, let's get going. Number 10 is Spain-Holland 2010 final. The Spaniards were known for being underachievers slash overrated, kind of like what Belgium is like nowadays. But Spain, ever since winning Euro 1964, just couldn't do anything. The World Cup, they've had some shocks, especially losing to Korea in 2002. And yeah, I sympathize with the Spaniards. Although I shouldn't, but I have to. Anyway, they got to the final. They actually lost their first game to Switzerland in the group stages, and then Spain had to fight tooth and nail to make the final. Whereas the Dutch had some things of their own. They actually beat Uruguay, which could have been easily Ghana if it wasn't for John's miss of a penalty. Anyway, Spain and Holland would face each other. The Dutch were trying for their first World Cup title after two failed attempts in 74 and 78. The Dutch also had some bad luck. However, in extra time, Andres Iniesta put the ball in the net 1-0. He paid tribute to, I think, a former teammate with his t-shirt. But yeah, Spain won 1-0 over the Dutch and got themselves to the World Cup title holder. Of course, you know, Holland had the kung fu kick by Nigel de Jong. Number 9, Argentina, West Germany, 1986 final. I know you probably would have thought the hand of God goal, but that definitely is not a finish. These are like late game finishes, if you will. So Argentina and West Germany were battling each other in the final. Argentina scored a pair of goals, including one by a guy who actually was born to English parents, Jorge Luis Brown, but he was eligible to play for Argentina. The Germans did tie the game at 2, but then Diego Maradona came through. And he didn't score. He actually made a back pass to Jorge Bershaka, or whatever, however you pronounce it, and he put the net ball in the net. 3-2 Argentina, and Maradona got his World Cup. He didn't cheat this time. In 1990, these two countries would meet, and Germany got revenge on Argentina 1-0 on a penalty by Andres Bremer, who recently passed away. Number 8, Brazil-Italy 94 final. Brazil used the finesse and, of course, Pele's influence to help them out. The tournament held in the States for the first time in 1994, and everyone packed those big football stadiums, if you will. So Brazil looked pretty good, and that's what you think. Anyway, Brazil and Italy would meet in the final. Italy actually barely made the final. They could have easily went out to Nigeria in the round of 16, but Roberto Baggio pulled them through. They had a close encounter in the quarters and then the semis, and thankfully for Baggio, he helped out. Basically, if it wasn't for Roberto Baggio, Italy would have been out quick. It was a 0-0 tie. They went to penalties. Italy skied one. Was it Baresi who skied it? Yeah, he did. And then Baggio was on the spot. All he needed to do was score a goal, keep the shootout going, and then Brazil would have had their fifth guy. However, though, Baggio placed it over the bar himself, and it was bad. You know, the image of him with his hands on his hips. Of course, a lot of people said that it was bound to happen because of Baggio's devout Buddhist faith and all that, and the Italian doctrine of blame that on which you do not understand. That's what people thought too. But after all, if it wasn't for Baggio, Italy would not have been to the final. So cut the guy some fucking slack. Number 7, Belgium versus Senegal 2026, round of 32. This game was epic. Belgium did come back from 2-0 down and scored a stoppage time goal against Japan in the round of 16 in 2018. But this one, for me, was much bigger and better. I mean, Belgium, when they scored their first goal against Japan, I think was in the 75th minute or something like that. And then, of course, Belgium doing their job, helping out. So, yeah, Belgium was down 2-0 to Senegal with like 5 minutes left until the 90 minutes were up and then stoppage time. It looked like Senegal was going to win and Belgium once again would underachieve. But Belgium kept the thing alive. A pair of goals tied the game at 2. It did go to extra time, and then Senegal with a foul in the box, meaning Belgium kicked a penalty kick, won the game 3-2, and now are in the round of 16. So, man, what can you do? Number 6, Germany Argentina 2014 final. The 2014 final was a big final for soccer because the World Cup was held in Brazil. Everyone thought Brazil was going to win the World Cup on home turf because they had to. It was going so well until the semifinals when Brazil bumped into Germany. Brazil lost their captain Thiago Silva to suspension and lost Neymar to an injury by that Colombian midfielder. So anyway, they played Germany. They lost 7-1 on a bad day with Miracosa breaking the record for most goals scored in a World Cup career. And then we saw Germany do their job. And that was big. So they would take on Argentina in the final. A lot of Brazilians wanted Argentina to lose to Germany because why would you want Argentina to win a tournament on their ground? Anyway, Argentina actually had a goal, but it was on an offside. And then the tense final was settled deep in extra time by Mario Götze's chest and volley winner. So Götze got the ball on the chest and then volleyed it to win the game for the Germans. Very late into extra time. And Germany won the World Cup. It was just amazing and all that. It was good. It was. Number 5 is Italy France 2006 final. Everybody knows what entails that final. But, there's a good setup to it. There's a good context. So Italy and France were meeting in the 2006 final. Italy had just come off a shock semifinal defeat of the host Germans 2-0 on a goal by Fabio Grasso. Gol di Grasso, Gol di Grasso. I know also I could have easily put in the top 10 for finishes. I could have put Dennis Bergkamp's finisher off of a pass from De Boer to take on Argentina and go to the semifinals in 1988. Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Oh, Frank De Boer! Bergkamp goal. But nevertheless, so yeah, France took out Portugal thanks to Zidane, and then Zidane scored a penalty just over the line. And then Materazzi equaled it to make it 1-1. And it was crazy how those two guys, the goal scorers, would bump into each other in extra time. Materazzi tugs Zidane's shirt, and Zidane says, "If you want my shirt, you can have it after the match." And then Materazzi said something to the effect of, "I want that whore of a sister of yours." Zidane went bonkers, headbutted Materazzi in the chest, got himself red carded in the final, which is inexcusable in any shape or form. And the French could have used Zidane in um the penalty shootout. Italy scored all their penalties. France missed only one, but Italy won the tournament, and that was just amazing and all that. It's kind of weird that Italy, that's the last knockout stage game they've actually been in. 2010, they had what was supposed to be the easiest group around, but they couldn't get out of that group. They only got 2 points. They couldn't even beat New Zealand. 2014, they were in a tough group with Costa Rica, Uruguay, and England, but failed to make it out. Costa Rica and Uruguay did. And then they've missed the last 3 World Cups. So, wow. Just wow. Number 4 is England, West Germany, 1966 final. I know, everyone says I have 3 lines on my shirt. England's number 1. Ha! No, it's so fast. England in 1966 had massive home cooking. All their games were played at Wembley, something you can't do nowadays. And Deutschland had this young Franz Beckenbauer guy who tore Switzerland apart with a solo goal. England, West Germany kind of were given better spots to make the finals because of a couple of games they played in. That, and in England, they played Argentina with a German ref, and Germany played their quarterfinal opponent with an English ref. England would play West Germany. Germany scored first. England scored twice to make it 2-1, including one from Jeff Hurst. And then Wolfgang Weber tied the game at 2, and we were going to extra time. And then came Jeff Hurst's famous shot that may or may not have crossed the bar. It did not. It hit the crossbar down and stayed on the line. However, the Azerbaijani official gave it a goal, some said because of World War II and all that, but England were up 3-2. Germany couldn't score the tying goal, and then Hurst famous scored, and then the famous quote from Kenneth Wolsterholm. There's some people on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. England beat West Germany for their only World Cup, and some say England's been cursed since then. Probably. Number 3 is the 1954 final, Germany versus Hungary. A lot of people would be shocked I go that far back, but it was actually big because Hungary were the magical Magyars, team that could do no wrong. They actually stunned England at Wembley and then beat the English on home turf. Everyone said, they're world beaters. West Germany said, not so fast. So West Germany and Hungary did play in the group stages. The Germans rested their players. So anyway, that was big. Hungary in the finals were up 2-0, and it looked like it was easy. They were going to win the title and all that. However, the West Germans came back with 3 quick goals and got known as the Miracle of Bern thanks to Helmut Ruhn's late winner. And Hungary would often wonder what it might have been. After all, the communist takeover in 1956 kind of ruined their country's momentum. Number 2 is Uruguay 2, Brazil 1, 1950. So the 1950 final was kind of weird. The 4 group stage winners would meet in a round robin thing to decide who wins the tournament. All Brazil needed was a tie at the Maracana. 199,000 fans came by. And Uruguay would take on Brazil. South American rivals, Uruguay won the 1930 World Cup. So anyway, Brazil needed to do something, and quick. Well, they're up 1-0, so, they've got one hand on that trophy. Unfortunately, though, Uruguay scored 2 goals as Andres Kijia and one Alberto Schivano. Yeah, one Albert Schivano scored the goals. And they did what only 2 other people did. And that would be Frank Sinatra and the Pope. Silence the Maracana, which they did. Uruguay won their second World Cup in their second World Cup appearance. They didn't take part in 34 or 38, so they were the champs again. Brazil were stunned. Uruguay would lose the semifinals in 1954, almost getting to the 3rd straight final as a nation. But the problem was that Brazil went nuts. They decided to change the color scheme of their shirts from white and blue to wearing yellow as their main color. And they basically banned all the 1950 Brazilian members from having anything to do with football ever again, especially with the national team. They couldn't even watch those guys. And all that. That was kind of pathetic. Number 1 is Argentina and France from 2022. Come on, you knew this would happen. This was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, World Cup final of all time, and the finish was just pure amazing. Argentina was actually up 2-0 in this game. I didn't actually watch this game because it landed at 11 a.m. And guess what else is Sunday at 11 a.m.? That's right, church. And I think God would have me in a headlock if I chose soccer over him. Nevertheless, Argentina was up 2-0. France erased it And then they had to go to extra time. Both teams scored in extra time. Mbappe scored one and Leo Messi scored one. And then came a massive save, an underrated save, but yeah, a save nevertheless. With 2 minutes left in extra time, the French player, I don't think it was Mbappe, I think it was someone else, went in on goal. And then Emilio Martinez, the goalie, number 23 in your programs, made a diving stop that if he had not touched the ball, that was France's goal to win the game. But yeah, he made a massive stop. They went to the shootout. Argentina won the shootout on penalties. Well, what shootout? And Leo Messi got his trophy. And everyone's happy. Will Messi get another trophy this year, 2026? Who knows? Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond at Duke.